What's up, everybody? It's your favorite villain, and before we get started, hit the like button. Those likes will serve as my defense against the pissed off DC fanbase. You can almost hear them right now, just like crumpling their blanket, talking about how they'll get revenge on me. But whatever, that's why I'm a villain. But today, we are going to speak on why, consistency wise, Mori Jin from God of High School could quite possibly beat the crap out of your boy Darkseid. So first thing we're going to talk about is what I mean by consistent Darkseid. I don't mean his outrageous, crazy power trip moments. He has a few moments every now and then in comics, as does everyone, but that doesn't represent consistency. People always try to say, oh, I have like 3 or 4 scans, so it's consistent. Well, if there's 1,500 scans, it's not consistent, jackass. Like, stop trying to trick us. Say, yo, Marvel fans, would DC fans pull up on you with 3 or 4 scans? It's not consistent, and explain to them why. I just helped you today. You're welcome. But anyway, in multiple instances in the comics, it's been referenced that Darkseid and his power is either multiversal, 4D, 5D, however you see it, based on certain instances. For example, at one point in the comics, he said his power isn't even infinite. He says it comes from his actual true form. His true form himself, he claims, is physical. If you are beyond dimensionals, you're beyond physical dimensionality. This makes more sense that Darkseid is either 4D or 5D, and that his avatars range in the 3D range, usually universal. Just makes more sense based on this and a few other things why he scales that way. His corpse, when falling, of course, in the famously mediocre story of Final Crisis, like, it was terrible, like, shooting, he's outerversal, but he got shot by Batman, like, stop it. But anyways, bad story writing aside, it was tearing apart space-time just by falling, which is quite impressive. So, most likely multiversal, given it would have been a multiversal crisis. At one point, he's referred to as representing the evil in the universe. It says creation, but in context, it seems more universe, so you can refer to it as such. I mean, if you want to say multiverse, sure, but whatever, It states at one point that Apocalypse and New Genesis exist outside of time and space. It does not say concept of time and space. It just says time and space, so most likely they're 4D or 5D. Depending on how that verse describes time and space, if it's separate or if it's in one, whatever. Apocalypse is later on actually confirmed to be in its own dimension. It's referred to as a private dimension. It's not referred to as being beyond dimensions. So it makes sense if we put it at 4 or 5D. Once again, in the comics, we see with Dr. Fate assembling a squad, he stated that they all had near infinite power and that together they could destroy the universe. Now, do I think Darkseid's universal only? No, you'll never get me to say that. However, I made a previous claim that, even his weaker avatars and stuff could be universal in power. This is just something that validates that. And then further proof is one of his avatars actually has a universal feat passively to where he got pulled out of a timeline and it collapsed and the results were universal. So his presence was like, I don't know. It was weird. You can count it as universal and I won't be mad at you. It's comic books. But anyways, let's move on to Mori Jin. Now, spoilers for anyone that just started the anime that just came out. Let me know if it's fire, by the way. I predicted it would be fire, but I don't know if it will be. But anyways, he's a guy initially starts out as a martial artist. We see him as a typical teenage martial arts specialist. And then all of a sudden he gets powers. Not the best storytelling you'll ever read, tell the truth. I didn't really enjoy it. It was kind of hard for me to finish at times. I thought it was bland, kind of corny. But Mori Jin isn't that bad as a lead character. He's not someone you will just hate. And he's a great martial artist. And he has crazy power. In fact, let me tell you about it. So he had a clone of himself in the real world or reality. And he was getting his power from dimensions away. So dimensions above him was the real Mori Jin, casting power multiple dimensions down below. It's later, of course, confirmed why this would be more than one dimension. He has to go and fight basically like a tower, almost like an old school video game fighter, where he has to clear the tower, and he does it. However, every time he clears a level, he's actually going up a dimension. The first level he started, 7, was 4D. Once, and then, you know, he has 7 times. Now, 2 things we can do from here. We can call him high complex multiversal, leave it at that, or we can take the scan of after he clears it all and quite possibly perceive it as outer versal, given that we see him on top of everything and far below him, out of the picture, is shapes. And I would think those shapes would represent dimensionality, and that he is beyond the dimensionality. But if you want to just leave it at high complex multiversal, you know, 9D, 10D, 11D range, that is perfectly fine. I don't really care. It gets a little wonky after that, but I think that's perfectly fair. So in the end, you know, when we look at consistent Darkseid feats and what he probably represents, we got everything from universal to 5D as consistent, with like 5D representing his true form in most cases. You know, if you guys want to present one scan to refute multiple, fine, whatever, I'll look at it. But you know, it's not like there's this myth that DC characters are way more consistent than Marvel. That's not true at all, and my channel is going to show that. But anyways, yeah, we have him at about 3D, 4D, 5D range, and that simply isn't enough for Mori, who literally cleared multiple dimensions beyond that casually. Was like one-shotting them back to back. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. If you didn't know Mori Jin was that strong, let me know in the comment section down below. If you are upset, let it fly. I'm not even going to try to police this comment section. Every man for himself. DC fanboys, do what you have to do. My fans, hold down the fort for your favorite villain. But anyways, this has been awesome, and I will see you guys later. Peace.